Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Rossi. Today we are going to experiment with color mixing using bubble painting. Let's get started. For this project you will need some paper, a straw, some bowls or cups to mix your bubble paint in. You're going to want to cover whatever surface you're working on, so I laid out some newspaper. You're going to need your paint and some soap. We're also going to need a little bit of water. I'm going to start my bubble painting with 3 colors. So I have a red paint, a blue paint, and a yellow paint. Do you remember what we call red, yellow, and blue? That's right, it's our primary colors. These are our primary colors because they mix together to make all the other colors in the rainbow. So you mix red and yellow to make orange, yellow and blue to make green, and red and blue to make purple. So I'm going to start with these colors and eventually I'll mix these to make my secondary colors. Inside each of my bowls I put a little bit of water. I'm going to put some paint in each bowl and then add a little bit of soap. And this is going to make my bubble paint. Most paints should work to do this. So I'm using craft paint today, but you can give it a try with whatever you have at home. I'm going to put my paints aside, and I'm going to squirt a little bit of dish soap in each cup. And this soap is what's going to make our bubbles. I have 3 straws here, one for each of my colors, and I'm just going to mix that together. So my water, my soap, and my paint all getting mixed together in its bowl. So now all of my paints are mixed together. I have my yellow paint, my blue paint, and my red paint, my primary colors. And I'm going to grab my piece of paper and get that ready. If you have thicker paper, you're going to want to use a thick paper today because it is going to get a little wet, and if our paper is too thin, it might fall apart. First color I'm going to try on my paper is my red. So I'm going to take out my red paint and I'm going to put the other 2 to the side. To make my bubble paint, what I'm going to do is blow into the end of the straw, and it's going to make more bubbles and more bubbles and more bubbles in my cup, and I will push my paper in through those bubbles, and it's going to leave a cool print on my paper. So let's see, I'm going to take my straw and I'm going to blow into one end of it and make some nice big bubbles. You want to be extra careful while you're blowing into your straw that you're not sucking in, because we don't want to suck in our bubbly paint water that we just made. It's not going to taste very good. Now that I have a bunch of bubbles in there, I'm going to pull my straw out. And I'm going to take my paper, I'm going to rest it on the edge of my cup, and I'm just going to push it across so it catches some of my bubbles. I can take my finger and just pop whatever is left, and now I'm left with my paint in the same mark as my bubble pattern, just like that. And that's going to dry in the same shape as those bubbles, which is going to be really cool. If I want a bigger area of red, I can just take my straw and do it again. So I'm going to blow into the straw. Take my straw out and just swipe my paper across by resting it on the edge of my bowl and just pushing all the way through. And I can pop those bubbles with my hand, and now I have an even redder, bubblier print right there. Let's get some other colors involved. So I'm going to put my red cup back, and I'll take my blue cup. You can use whatever colors you'd like to make. Yours does not have to look like mine. So I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to blow into my end of the straw to make big bubbles. Take my straw out. And I could swipe on top of my red, or I can turn my paper and I could do blue on this side. There we go. I can pop these bubbles with my finger. And I'm left with a really cool bubble print in blue now. I'm going to do another print of blue next to my red so they can mix together a little bit. And then I'm going to add some yellow by just repeating the same steps over where I'm blowing into my bubble paint and then swiping my paper through. Another way you can do this is you can press your paper into your bubbles that you are blowing, and that is going to leave the imprint more in the middle of your paper. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to blow my bubbles so they're nice and big. And I'm going to flip my paper upside down, and wherever I want it on my paper, I'm going to line it up with my bubbles and just push right down onto my cup. And that's going to leave me a little bit of bubble action right in the middle. I think swiping it from the side works a little bit better, but that will work also. Let's add some yellow to our picture. So I'm going to keep repeating the same thing over and over until I get my full paper covered in bubbles. And that is my first bubble paper all finished. You can see that since I used the primary colors, in areas where my colors overlapped, they started to mix together to make the secondary colors. So I have some purple forming, some orange, and some green. So that came out really nice. I'm going to let this dry with all those bubbles on top of it. So in my new cups, I'm going to mix together some secondary colors by just adding a little bit of my primary bubble soap to each one. So I need 2 with blue. I'm going to add some red to my blue. Then I'll add some red to this empty cup. And then some yellow to 2. And now we can start to see those colors mixing. Get some new straws for those. Let's see what colors we get. So our yellow and our red is going to make orange. Just like that. Our blue and our red is making purple. And our blue and our yellow is making green. I think I'm going to add a little bit more yellow to both of these. That looks better. Now we got green and we got orange. So now I can use all the colors of the rainbow in my bubble painting. Like I said, you could use whatever colors you have at home, but if you want to mix your own colors, this is a great way to do it. Oh, we have a beautiful rainbow reflection coming in from my window. That looks perfect for what we're doing. So I'm going to just use the same method I've already done by blowing into each cup so the bubbles form, and then swiping my paper onto it to do some more bubble painting. Another way you could do this is by using a bubble wand in your soaps and blowing the bubbles onto your paper to leave your bubble print. And those are both of my bubble paintings all finished. So this one I only used the primary colors, and this one I used all the colors after I mixed my primary colors together to get my secondary colors. So I mixed my red and yellow to make my orange, my blue and yellow to make my green, and my blue and red to make my purple. Now there are so many different ways you can bubble paint, whether you want to swipe your paper across, you want to press your paper into your bubbles, or if you want to use a bubble wand and blow your colorful bubbles directly onto your paper. All of those different things will work. It is super fun to try any different way you think is going to work best and just have fun playing with it. And when these are dry, you can even turn them into another picture by drawing on top of them. That's a lot of fun too. If you try this at home and you want to share a picture with me, you can share it with me in the easiest way you know how, whether that is through email or Google Docs. I would love to see what you create at home. I can't wait to see you guys when we go back to school. Have fun, try your best, and get creative. Bye.